A rumor raced through gold country and across the internet. In a quiet patch of brush, a giant steel drum sat half-buried and silent. The kind of machine most people would call scrap. It was an old trommel from another time, built for brute force, left to rust after the crews moved on. The claim attached to it sounded unreal. People said the drum still hid a fortune, not just a lucky cleanup, but a jaw-dropping amount that rocketed into the hundreds of millions. The picture in everyone's mind was simple and powerful. A forgotten machine, a layer of grime, a hidden cache waiting for the right hands. The name that kept surfacing was Parker Schnabel, because his world is the crossroads where old machines meet new methods and where a smart process can turn leftovers into results. The rumor stuck because it touched a real truth about mining. Old operations ran hard and fast. They did not always scrub clay fully. They did not always balance water and feed. And they did not always keep screens tight. Fine gold can slip away little by little until the losses become a quiet river. That is why a relic can look like a vault from a distance. The question worth answering is not whether a single drum could explode into a once-in-a-lifetime payday with zero paperwork. The better question is why that idea refuses to die, and how Parker's world shows the practical path from loud rumor to measured proof. This story follows that path. It starts with what people hope is true, then moves into how a trommel really works, where the gold gets lost, what pressure looks like on a real crew, how a relic would be rescued and rebuilt, why old notes and stockpiles create legends, what a huge payout would actually demand, and what to watch next if you want signal instead of noise. The hook is big and dramatic. The answer is calm and technical. That is how mining turns stories into ounces. A giant number is exciting. It is easy to repeat and hard to verify. A claim that an abandoned trommel holds hundreds of millions demands more than a thumbnail and a headline. Mining has a simple rule for proof. First come assays, the lab results that show grade from a proper set of samples taken across a grid. Second come weigh-ups over time. Not one pan or one bucket, but a series of cleanups that show real ounces crossing the mats and settling into trays. Third come sales that tie the metal to money on paper. Without those three, a huge figure is still a rumor. This does not mean the idea behind the rumor is empty. It means the number is not proven. The reason people keep believing the hook is because the mechanics are believable. Old trommels often ran with screen packages that did not match the ground. Holes were too large for the particle size in the pay. Water was either too weak to break clay bonds or too strong and pushed fines through before they could settle into the recovery path. Feed came in waves, heavy for a minute and thin for the next, so one side of the plant overloaded while the other side starved. Chutes and distributors wandered out of balance. Maintenance lagged and panels lifted or wore thin, widening apertures so values escaped. Many older flow sheets did not include a strong second stage for ultrafine capture, so tiny flakes and flour gold slid into tailings. Over days and weeks, each little leak is small. Over a season, it becomes a pile of lost money. When a rumor points at a relic and suggests hidden value, the physics make that suggestion feel honest. The risk is that the physics are used to justify a headline no one can back up. The right response is not to reject the idea of value in old sites. The right response is to demand the normal mining paperwork and to remember that real wins show up as repeatable numbers, not as a single dramatic sentence. Parker's world reinforces that reality. The show compresses time, but the mine does not. The mine always asks the same question: what crossed the mats today, and what did the tailings still keep? A trommel is a big rotating tube with lifter bars and screens. Gravel and water enter the drum. The rotation lifts the load, drops it, and scrubs the rocks. Cleaned material moves along, and anything smaller than the screen openings falls through into the recovery path. Larger rocks roll out the far end. That is the basic loop. The weak points are simple and common. If screen openings are too large for the ground, under-scrubbed slurry drops through before clay breaks apart. Clay holds fine gold like a glue. If water pressure is low, the clay never lets go, and gold rides out with waste. If water pressure is too high, the slurry races through and pushes fine particles past the capture zones. If feed is uneven, the drum stops behaving like a steady scrubber and starts behaving like a churn that starves one wing and chokes the other. If panels lift or wear thin, the openings widen and values slip away. If mats clog, they stop catching what they were designed to catch. If the plant lacks a second stage for ultrafine recovery, a meaningful part of the gold remains invisible and leaves the site in slurry. None of this is rare. All of this is fixable. Modern crews tune water to the actual actual cut. Match screen packages to measured particle sizes. Stabilize feed with good loading habits. Place spray bars where they break clay bonds instead of just making the drum wet. Add centrifugal units to trap ultrafines, and institute a routine for cleaning and inspection so performance does not decay in the background. A well-tuned trommel does not look dramatic. It sounds steady, runs clean, and produces a recovery curve that feels boring in the best way. Parker's World shows why that boring curve matters. A flashy plant shot looks great for a moment. A balanced flow is what pays for a season. The link between the rumor and Parker Schnabel is not a secret jackpot. It is the pressure his seasons make easy to understand. Short windows in cold regions force fast decisions. Snow hangs on. Roads thaw late, rut early, and turn to soup at the worst times. Ground that looks dry in the morning can become a mess by lunch. Pumps demand attention. Bearings heat up during the longest shifts. Screens wear faster when throughput ramps. A top-end wash plant like Slucifer is a triumph when the flow is right, and a worry when one weak point turns into a choke. Investments in new ground raise both potential and stress. Every extra acre means more stripping, more fuel, more hours, and a higher bar for ounces. Crew members juggle fatigue and focus. The clock never steps aside. In that environment, the idea of a hidden fortune feels like relief. One rich run would settle bills, calm nerves, and buy time. But strong seasons do not ride on hope. Strong seasons ride on habits. Water is checked and rechecked. Feed is kept steady rather than heroic. Screens are swapped before they fail. Chutes are leveled. Tailings are sampled so the plant learns from its own waste. The difference between a rumor and a result lives in these plain steps. People follow Parker because the work is visible. The machines are large. The weather is real. And the number at the end of the week does not care about the mood of the day. That is why the rumor feels close to his world and why the method is the real story. The team that treats every shift as a chance to tighten the loop is the team that can turn leftover potential into measurable ounces. A clean way up is quiet on camera, but it is the most honest line of dialogue in the entire season. If a rusted trommel truly sits in the brush, the rescue is a project with clear steps. Access comes first. Roads must handle the weight without swallowing axles. The lift plan must protect the frame and keep the drum aligned so mounts are not twisted during transport. In the yard, the machine is stripped to the frame. Guards come off. Drives and gearboxes are separated. The drum is lifted with care. Everything is cleaned until steel shows itself. Ultrasonic checks measure thickness and catch weak spots. Bearings and seals are replaced as standard procedure, not as a last resort. The rebuild is designed for the deposit that will actually run through the plant now, not the ground that ran years ago. Screen apertures are matched to measured particle sizes from fresh samples. Lifter geometry is set to give the slurry time inside the drum without grinding the load. Spray bars are positioned to break clay bonds and keep panels clear. Drain angles and drop points are tuned, so material keeps moving without building up in corners. The control side gets simple sensors for flow, pressure, vibration, and torque, so drift triggers an adjustment early in a shift rather than a failure late in the day. Downstream, the recovery train treats fines as a priority. Mats catch visible flakes. Centrifugal units or other fine capture tools lock in micro values. Cleanouts happen on a schedule before performance slides. If legacy stockpiles sit near the machine, a sample grid identifies the most promising piles, and the best numbers run first to fund the rest of the work. Tailings are tested. If the second pass pays, the flow is adjusted until tailings stop giving easy ounces away. None of these steps are dramatic alone. Together they form a calm blueprint for turning a relic into a reliable contributor. A quiet plant that hits targets is worth more than a loud plant that surprises everyone once and disappoints for the next 10 shifts. That is the lesson crews carry forward when they rebuild old iron with modern discipline. Legends rarely start with a perfect record book. They start with leftovers, a map rolled tight and left in a can, a notebook with yardage numbers and half-erased lines, a water license that outlived the crew that earned it, a neat stack of dirt that never got processed because a storm hit or the season ended fast. From the ground, those piles look like brush bumps. From a drone, they look like clean geometry. Modern mapping turns random shapes into targets. Teams overlay old notes onto new images and look for material that does not match the cleanup claims from years past. Then comes the part that decides whether a rumor grows or gets put to bed. Sampling is done on a grid instead of a hunch. Bulk tests are run through a real plant instead of a bucket. Tailings are checked to see where the first pass failed. Results are tracked over days, not minutes. If the numbers repeat, the plan scales. If they do not, the site is logged honestly honestly, and the crew moves on before time and fuel are wasted. This is where Parker's approach lines up with long-term success. A good crew treats a rumor as a lead and a lead as a test. The test produces data or it does not. When it does, those old stockpiles become a bridge between past and present. When it does not, the legend returns to being a story people like to tell. The difference is not in the tone of the rumor. The difference is in the samples, the bulk run, the weigh-ups, and the tailings math. A legend that passes those steps stops being a legend. It becomes a plan in plain numbers. A number in the hundreds of millions does not come from a single turn of a drum. It comes from a campaign with many boxes checked at the same time. The ground must carry strong grade over real volume. The plant must run with steady flow and minimal downtime. Water must be balanced for clay in that cut, not another cut. Screens must match the particle sizes and be swapped before they fail. The recovery train must give fines a clear path and a clean landing. Logistics must keep fuel, parts, and people available when a breakdown would cost the season. Metal prices must not collapse during the push. The team must keep discipline through fatigue, weather, and small setbacks. When those pieces align, results stack into a number large enough to draw headlines. A refurbished Trommel can help reach those results because it plugs specific leaks that older methods left open. A second pass over tailings can turn past mistakes into present margins. But a lone abandoned machine instantly producing a world-class payout without months of preparation, testing, and rebuilds would need more than a rumor. It would need the normal proof that any mine uses to check itself. The better story to follow is quieter and closer. It is the picture of tailings getting cleaner over time. It is the picture of screen packages lined up with the deposit. It is the picture of water pressure measured instead of guessed. It is the notebook full of small tweaks and the weigh-ups that move steadily upward. That story does not explode on the internet for a day. That story funds the next season. The abandoned Trommel rumor stays alive because it points to something true. The past left value in the ground and in the piles. Modern thinking can bring that value home. Parker Schnabel operates where that truth is tested every day. Old iron meets better methods. Short seasons meet long plans. Hype meets proof. The giant headline can wait. The real signal is a string of clean weigh-ups, a plant that stays in tune, tailings that stop giving away fines, and a crew that fixes small problems before they become big ones. When maps, logs, and leftover stockpiles meet measured runs, legends either turn into data or fade into background noise. That is the line that matters. For more straight, simple breakdowns that cut through hype and focus on what works, subscribe to Gold Era 2.0 and turn on notifications so the next deep dive does not slip past you. Upcoming videos will stay practical. How to spot screen wear before recovery falls, how to balance water for sticky cuts, how to build a quick tailings test that saves a week, and how to plan a rebuild schedule that keeps a plant honest. The story of old machines is not about magic. It is about patient work, small improvements, and proof that stands up in daylight. The rumor is loud. The numbers are quiet. In Parker's world, the numbers always win.